Welcome back to the channel, and this video is about painting a wash across the helicopters just to detail some of the finer lines across them. And the colour I'll be using is black grey, and in the tray off to the right here I have a little bit of the colour in the palette, and then in this big tray here I have some water. So it's sort of water and paint mixture technique, and I just sort of work the water. You can see the brush here on the right. I just work a bit of water, then a bit of paint, bit of water, bit of paint, until I just get a thin amount of paint on the brush. So we'll get into it, and the Black Hawk will come back to, because we'll do a different style on that. So here, I'll just quickly show the two Hueys. The top one's had that slight wash on it, and the bottom one hasn't. So this is the technique I use for a wash across all the vehicles. Apologies for that little shadow. And I'm using the 5-0 brush again. And that just highlights all those lines in the helicopter. If you're worried you've got too much colour on the brush, paint the underside. That'll give you an idea how much is on the brush. And that just gives that little highlight across the aircraft of some of those lines. And with the paint we have remaining, we'll paint the exhaust for the Hueys, but we'll get this wash colour on first. Bit of fluff. And really it's these lines I'm chasing that you really want to give a little bit of colour to. And with the exhaust system here on each side, you're going to have some areas that are slightly darker across the aircraft. So that just fills in those lines. And we'll come back to that in a second. Same thing with this aircraft. filling in those lines, giving them a little bit of colour through them. Then once I've applied that across there and filled in those lines with a bit of colour, I then paint just inside the exhaust system, just giving it a bit of colour. Same inside here. And the other side, and I'll go back to that hind we painted just before. Same thing, just a little bit of colour inside that exhaust. Same on the other side, around those air intakes. Then with the Hueys, I'll do the same at the back there where the exhaust is. Just give that a bit of colour. Same with the other one. And that gives us the colour across them. You can sort of see the size difference between a Huey and a hind. I'll quickly rinse the brush out and move them up there. And this is just that black wash. But the Black Hawk we painted in a previous video, and we gave it that purple windows to give it that real night fighting dark helicopter look. I'm going to use a different colour because the wash, a German grey or a black grey wash won't work on a black helicopter. So the colour I'm going to use for that is medium brown, and the label's worn off, but the colour's brown, medium brown. So I'll just put a tiny bit of that on the palette. Not going to take much at all. Same again, water, really break down that colour a lot. I'll quickly zoom out just so you can see it down here in the bottom right. That's the brown there. I'll really just water it down a lot. And then I'll just run that brown over the aircraft. And that's just I mean, they do have pretty good details. That's just to highlight some of those details on the helicopter. You don't have to do this. You can you know, choose whatever colour you'd like, but if you get too much like that, I'll just water it down and then try and scrape off some of the paint with water. And it looks a bit funny at the moment, but once that dries, we'll obviously be looking at it again in another video, but once that dries, it does look different. So that's just highlighted some of those details instead of just being a black helicopter, which is cool. What we've done is highlighted details across it. So that's my technique for just giving the helicopters a little wash, putting some colour through them, and we'll have a look at 3 of them there. Thanks for watching.